Good morning, and well, yeah, it's still morning. Had to look at my clock. Good morning, everyone. Our CCCC friends, our students, and our other instructors, and also some of our other summer camp kids that are joining in on our videos as well too. So I'm going to start up some stock this morning. I'm going to get it going now, and I'm going to kind of let it simmer for about good 4 hours. So all of my culinary students, what are our different types of stocks? I'll leave a little moment for you all to kind of think about that and ponder on it. What are our different types of stocks? And then also thinking about our stocks, what is our basic three vegetables that go in there? And what is the French term for those? I'm going to give you a hint. It starts with the M. And then also, what is their percentage? There's a percentage each of those three can go in, okay? So think about those classic things. Now I'm going to go in just with some vegetables that I have left over from the videos that I began with the knife skills. And I say some of the scraps as well as some of the herbs as well too. So I have some onion, some pieces of zucchini, some carrot pieces as well too. And I'm also going to throw in some herbs. So my culinary students, especially those in CUL 140 and 240. So remember, what are the ways we can add our herbs in? There's two ways. There are two ways that you can add them in. Okay, what are those two ways? You guys remember? What are those two ways you can add your herbs in? Okay, so right here I just have a regular. This is a I believe it's like a 8 or 10 quart pot. I can't remember the measurements. I'll usually kind of sometimes start off with a little dry pot, but you can. Some people like to put a little olive oil in there. Some people may put even just a little bit of butter in there. The more you put in, the more you have to worry about skimming off. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of white wine in here. A little fancy. Just gonna add a little flavor in there. Just put about a tablespoon of white wine in there. Just kind of get the things rolling. Put that back in my lazy Susan. But thinking about our stocks, okay? Whenever you're starting off with a vegetable stock, you don't have to let that simmer for as long as you would if you had a stock that has some meat in it. So this vegetable stock probably can go for at least 2-3 hours, at the max 4 hours, to get the most flavor out of it, okay? When you get to your stocks that have meat, that's you want to get into them going more towards the 6 and the 8 hours cooking time, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I get a little, let's wait for a little sizzle. That's what I'm waiting for. And I'm going to wait for that. While that's going, I'm going to put just a little bit of oil. I have a little oil pot over here. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil here. So basically what's going to happen, you're just basically going to lightly saute the vegetables and really get no color, little to no color up there. It's fine to get a little color up there, but just a little to no color that's going to go on these vegetables. And then adding your herbs. You're going to add in some cold water and bring it to a boil to simmer, BTS. So once it begins to boil, lower it down to a nice simmer. I put a lid on it and just put a little timer on, especially if you're doing a vegetable stock like me. You can let this go for about 4 hours. I'm probably going to let this go for about 3 hours. That's my little sizzle. That's what I've been waiting on. My little spoon aside. I'm going to drop in the rest of these vegetables. Yeah, I'm going to let this go for about 3.5 hours. Okay. And it really doesn't matter how your vegetables are chopped, because you're just really just pulling out the flavor, some nutrients out of it as well too. Okay, so this is a perfect, great day to make some stock and see all those pieces of the leftover vegetables and carrots and onions that I have from previous videos. They did not go to waste, guys. Waste not, want not. It's sustainability, so find a way to make sure you get the most use out of all of your produce, okay? And this smells amazing. And guys, I got my tripod coming in soon, so I'll be able to record and do two-hand action with this, okay? I'm going to cut it down a little bit. Alrighty. I'm going to start getting some water on it. And we're going to add some water to this, and then our stock is going to get glowing. Okay? So stocks are a real solid foundation to a lot of things that we like to use. A little overspill. That we like to use in our culinary kitchen. A lot of stocks are the building blocks to delicious soups and stews, sauces. I've also taken some stocks and once they were done and finished, kind of like I got some little ice cube molds, and I poured some in the ice cube molds, and when they're frozen, kind of popped them out. I put them in a little Ziploc bag and kind of made by my own little water-based bouillon. So whenever I'm making a little sauce and I want to add a little extra flavor to it, I just pop a little stock ice cube bouillon in there, and I want to keep going up to about that little right up on that little handle right there. So got a little bit more water. But yeah, sometimes I'll make my stock and then I'll freeze it into little the ice cube molds. Then I have my like little water-based bouillon. So if I'm making a nice little sauce or whatever, I need a little stock. I can just pop it right on in there. I'm gonna grab a paper towel. There we go. A little towel near so I can get up this water spillage that I've made on the side. But when you're doing stock, I always tell my students no salt whatsoever. Do we know why we do not put salt in our stock? Okay. My culinary students, do you all know why we do not put salt in our stock? Okay. And I'll let you all send that answer to me via your assignment. Okay. There's a reason why we do not put salt in our stock, okay? I'm just going to stir these vegetables around just a little bit. I'm going to wait for my water to come up to a boil. I'm going to try not to watch it because a watch pot never boils. I'm going to talk a little bit more about stock, and I'm going to let it go, and then I might come back with a second video to show you all what it looks like after it's been going for a while. But I'm getting to my herbs. I'm going to put in some rosemary, some thyme, bay leaf. I'm going to dump all these herbs in here. I'm going to dump them all in there. So we've got our rosemary, our thyme, our bay leaf, a little parsley as well too. This is going to be a well seasoned, flavorful stock as well too. And a lot of stocks can also help with your immune system as well too. We talked about the healing values of our herbs earlier in our first video, and a lot of these things are going to be pulled out as it's beginning to set and steep in this liquid. So a lot of people will make stock for to help boost their immune system as well too, and get some of the other properties that are in our herbs, and then also that's in our onions, our celery, and our carrots, and our cabbage, which we'll probably talk about in another video that we'll dedicate all to vegetables. Okay. So this is our stock. Remember, I took my vegetables left over from our knife skill videos, and from our herbs. I had some leftover herbs that we talked about there as well too, and I saved all of them. I had some small knife cuts as well too that was left over, and I put all of them into this. I believe this is a 10-quart pot, but whatever size pot you have at home. If it's just a small family, you can do a smaller one. You don't have to do a big one. This isn't really that much big of a pot. It's about that size. I believe it's an 8 or 10 quart pot. But this is a basic foundational thing that us chefs love to keep in our freezer and our cooler. So I'm going to make all this stock. This is just going to be a vegetable stock, okay? And remember questions earlier in the video, my culinary students, what are some other type stocks that we can make? But for this stock, just to kind of recap, I just put a little bit of olive oil, or just a little bit of white wine to kind of begin the sauteing or the sizzling process, as I tell in the class. And then I dumped all of my vegetables in, give them a nice light saute, little to no browning. So you want to really not brown your vegetables. And then I dumped in some cold water, and then dumped in my herbs as well too. And no salt. No salt in this, okay? So you guys, I'm just going to let this boil a little bit. I'm going to put the lid on and let it go. It is now 11 o'clock, so I'm going to let it go to about 3 or 4 o'clock, and we'll come back in and check on it later on, okay? So this is Chef D signing out.